Season 1 just dropped and there were so many changes, so I have for you today the top 5 best SMGs with the best classes that you should be using. With the first weapon being an honorable mention, we have the Akimbo SAUG. This is actually the only SMG that you can use Akimbo on. It is very good, it has a very fast TTK as long as you're using the correct damage range. Like if you're trying to use it at like 25 meters, you're probably going to lose that fight. Also, we are going to be going over a 5 attachment and an 8 attachment version for every submachine gun. They work very good in Warzone and multiplayer, so it really doesn't matter why you're here. You will find this helpful. So for the muzzle, I am going to be rocking the suppressor. If you're using the Akimbo and you just really can't control the gun, rock the compensator. That's going to severely help, but the gun's very loud. You're shooting 2 guns. Everyone's going to know where you're at. You are going to be blowing through the ammo pretty fast, so I like to do the extended mag 1. Extended mag 2 is good, but we are going to be lowering our sprint to fire speed, and since we are hip firing, that sprint to fire speed is very, very important. For the rear grip, we do have the assault grip on here just to focus on that sprint to fire speed. Usually I would use the ergonomic grip just to increase the ADS speed, the sprint to fire, and everything like that, but since you can't ADS with the Akimbo, you're just going to be, the main stat that we want to focus on is that sprint to fire speed. Next up, obviously for the stock, we are going to be using the Akimbo stock. This is going to make it so you have the Akimbo. We are lowering our damage range though and the hip fire spread, and so you do have to be pretty close, which is why we have the steady aim laser. This is going to make it so our hip fire is a little bit tighter. That's what she said, and you are going to be able to kill the enemies a little bit faster. If you guys want the 5 attachment screenshot, there you guys go. Now for the 8 attachments, I really do like to add the rapid fire, but then there's a lot of recoil, so you kind of have to add the compensator. For the barrel, we are going to be adding the reinforced barrel to mitigate the cons of that rapid fire, and then you can't really rock anything else on here. Wait, like, can you rock it under? Yeah, you can't do any other underbarrel, and then the optic really doesn't. I wish we could run an optic just like in Ghost, I think it was. You could run like the Akimbo Magnums and then have a scope on your gun, and then you got a calling card for getting kills like that. Super fun. I wish they would bring something like that back. This next one is going to be the JACKAL PDW, the best SMG. This one has the fastest sprint out TTK. Basically, if you're running around the map and then you see someone you go to fire, this gun is going to be the fastest killing one. Although like the compact SMG, if someone's like ADS waiting for you, the compact's going to kill faster. This one just has a very good sprint fire speed. So for the 5 attachment build, since the gun can be a little bit bouncy, I really like the ported compensator. The ported compensator is good if you can kill the enemies within like 5 to 10 shots. If you find yourself holding down the trigger and firing a lot of your bullets, then you're going to want to use the compensator. This is a little bit better for Warzone. Multiplayer, I'll typically go with the ported compensator. For the barrel, we are going to be using the reinforced barrel to increase that damage range. The SMGs in this game, you can already feel how they're so weak after you get past their effective damage range. In this case, it's about 16.6 meters. After that 16, the gun just turns into a pea shooter. It is absolutely horrible, but it's gonna, increase that. So for the next attachment, we are gonna be using the Ranger 4. This is gonna make it so you can feel a lot lighter. It's gonna increase your sprinting movement speed, and that sprinting movement speed goes for your tactical sprint speed as well, but you're not gonna get as much as you would with just your base sprint, if that makes sense. And then we also do get some horizontal recoil control, eliminating a lot of that side to side bounce. If you can't really control the weapon that well, then I would use the vertical foregrip. For the barrel, for the magazine, we are going to be using the extended mag 1. Same reasons as before, increases the ammo count without really having any cons, although sometimes I will use the extended mag 2 if I'm going crazy on Nuketown. And then for the rear grip, we are going to be using the ergonomic grip. The slide of fire speed in this game is really, really slow. I hope they just overall lower it, because it seems like the ergonomic is almost a crutch attachment that we rock on every single aggressive build. With all that said though, here's the 5 attachment build. Now for the 8 attachment, remember you do have to add the gunfighter wildcard. A lot of people don't realize that. For the stock, we are going to be adding the infiltrator stock, or you can do the no stock. The infiltrator, I really like it because it's going to increase that aim walking movement speed, which is also your strafe speed. I know the balanced stock says it's going to increase your strafing movement speed, and then it also increases your aim walking movement speed. There's different types of strafe speed. There's like your hip fire strafe speed, there's like your forward strafe speed, and there's like 5 different types. The infiltrator is going to give you the overall best boost. You notice a huge difference when you add this. It is insane how fast you can strafe. For the laser, we are not going to be adding that. For the fire mod, we are going to be adding probably the recoil springs. This is just going to make it so now we can actually run a suppressor on the gun. We don't really need as much recoil control because we get a lot of that with that attachment. And then now we are going to be off the radar. You still can't really hit your shots. You can keep the ported compensator on there, and now your gun is going to be easily, like, you can easily use it at a very long range. And then for the optic, I usually just add the Kepler or the Accu spot. For this gun, I just really like that the Kepler. Here's a screenshot of the 8 attachment build. By the way, if you're stressing about camos or simply just don't have time for them, check out my long-term sponsor Guapsi. They will legitimately play in your account to hard unlock whatever you please. They can do the camos to the gun levels, and this goes for zombies, Warzone, and multiplayer. They don't use an unlock tool, and this doesn't break 2S, so there is no risk of being banned, and no one has before. So if you want to save your time and energy, go to the top link in my description and check out guapsi.com. For the next weapon on this list, this is going to be the TANTO .22, one of my favorite guns in the game, and also one of the most hated guns in the game. If you miss any shots, shots, the time to kill drastically goes up since it has a very slow fire rate, and so it's not that forgiving, but if you can hit your shots, you'll see the power behind this thing. This thing is super enjoyable to use. So for the muzzle, we are going to be using the ported compensator. Since this thing has a lot of like initial recoil, this is going to give us a more recoil control for that first shot, and then we also just get a base vertical recoil control. The compensator also works pretty good, and if you want to be off the radar, rock the suppressor. For this gun though, I noticed the ported was the best. For the barrel, you're going to want to use the reinforced barrel. This is just going to make it so you have a little bit more firepower. This gun is basically an AR in the body of an SMG, and so I really like to maximize that range, and so the long barrel is good, but I want to increase the bolt velocity as well, so then we have a better hit registration. The bolt velocity now is going to be about 630 meters per second, so now we're going to have hit scan up to about 35 meters, I believe, which is more than enough for a submachine gun. For the underbarrel, I like the Ranger foregrip for the same reasons as before. It's going to make you feel so much lighter. You're going to get from point A to point B a whole lot quicker. If you can't really control the gun, I would give it about 3 games, but if you still are struggling, then I would use the vertical foregrip. You'll notice that there is so much recoil control in the gun. This gives us a lot of horizontal recoil control, and then that muzzle's giving us that vertical. For the magazine, we are going to be using the extended mag 1, although you could take this off for a different attachment. Because the fire rate's so slow, you actually don't really need that much ammo. You're not going to be blowing through ammo, so you could take off the magazine, go over to the stock, and then I really like the no stock on this thing. For some reason, it's just the no stock feels great. It does increase your hip fire movement speed and like your base walking movement speed, and there's times where I just like I just get in the enemy's face and I just, you know, strafe like this. The infiltrator stock is very good as well. A lot of the attachments in this game, it really doesn't matter what you add because they're all very good. This is just what I personally have been really liking. And then for the rear grip though, obviously you do kind of always want to run the ergonomic grip just to increase that slide to fire speed and your ADS speed and your dive to fire speed. I don't know why I'm losing brain cells right now. For the last attachment, this is actually also kind of a must. I like to add the rapid fire for the same reasons as I was saying that this gun has a slow fire rate, so it's not that forgiving. This is going to make it a little bit more forgiving, and if you do hit your shots, you're going to be really destroy the enemies very quickly. It's just it adds recoil, takes away our damage range and the bolt velocity, and so a lot of these attachments are to mitigate those cons. Overall though, this is my favorite 5 attachment Tanto, and then if you want extra ammo, you can take off the stock. There you guys go. Now for the 8 attachment build, we are obviously going to go add that no stock on there, and then I don't really like the lasers in this game. I hope they buff them or add some other cool lasers because it seems like nobody, including myself, runs the lasers. Then we got the Kepler Microflex on there. Here is the 8 attachment Tanto .22 build. Absolutely love that thing. I am curious, you guys should let me know in the comments your favorite build from this list if you do want to come back over to it. This gun that we're going over is probably going to be my favorite. This is going to be the C9. I have the max strafing speed 1. Feels like an OG MP5. It just feels amazing. It would feel a little bit better if they called it the MP5 instead of the C9. I hate how they can't or they don't use the actual gun names because it would hit so much harder just saying this is the MP5. Okay, sorry. For the muzzle, this gun doesn't have that much damage range. The SMGs are really weak in this game. We really do need to increase that firepower as well as that bolt velocity. So I do have the reinforced barrel on here. This also, yeah, it's just going to increase that recoil control. Then for the underbarrel, since this gun is pretty bouncy, you can't really run the Ranger foregrip. So I like to have the vertical. I just hit more of my shots. Obviously, the Ranger would make it feel lighter. It's just like I can't hit my shots with that, so I have to add the vertical. For the magazine, the fire rate is pretty fast, so I always run the extended mag 1. Even if I'm playing search and destroy, or if the enemies are playing slow, I'll still run the extended mag. And then for the rear grip, we got the ergonomic grip. This can increase that slide to fire, the dive to fire, and your ADS speed. And then lastly, we have the infiltrator stock. This thing, like I was saying before, increases your aim walking movement speed, which is your strafe speed, and you just feel so light with this gun. It is insane, like just how you can just strafe with it. Like, I don't really see that many people rocking this build. Soon, you're probably going to be seeing a lot of people because this thing is absolutely insane. My favorite class in the entire game. And then for the 8 attachment, we are going to be going over here and adding the suppressor because for the fire mod, we are going to be adding the recoil springs, which then we can go over to the underbarrel and add the Ranger for it because we already get a lot of recoil control from the recoil springs. So now we can move around faster. We are off the radar and we have a lot of recoil control. If you still can't hit your shots, you can take off the Ranger and add the vertical, but right there you guys can see there's really not that much recoil on the weapon. This is one of my favorite guns actually to use with just the with the 8 attachments. Like, you can really break the gun. A lot of people do like to add the rapid fire, which I hate how it does this. Rapid fire is very nice on the gun. You'll kill the enemies about 6% faster, but I just found the gun was more consistent when I add the recoil springs. But if you want, you could add the rapid fire, change your underbarrel for the vertical, and then change out the muzzle for the ported compensator, or the probably the compensator for this gun. And so that'd be a good rapid fire build, but the one I just showed you is going to be my personal favorite. Next up, this is going to be the PP919. This thing so fun to use, especially in Warzone. You have so much ammo. I feel like in Warzone, or just in general in this game, you're always in a gunfight, and like you get a kill and then you're immediately at another one, or you're shooting at someone, then you immediately get shot in the back, and it's just, you don't have time to blink, you don't have time to reload, you don't got time to do anything. This one comes with a very, very big magazine, and so then it just makes it so you don't really die from reloading ever. It's super, super enjoyable to use. For the muzzle, we are going to be using the suppressor. Really not that much recoil on the weapon, so we don't need to waste the attachment on that, and we can get the benefits of staying off the radar, allowing us to be more stealthy. For the barrel, we are going to be using the reinforced barrel. This gun already has a pretty good damage range, but might as well increase that a little bit more. The main thing is just increasing that bow velocity. I like to bring up the bow velocity for like every gun in the game to at least 600 meters per second. The ARs, I'd like to be in like 750, 800, and you know, if we just add the gain twist barrel, yes, it brings up the bow velocity a lot to 729. The damage range is good, but it, you know, we don't need that much bow velocity for an SMG, so might as well increase a little damage range and get the bow velocity. Best of both worlds. Reinforce is overall one of the best attachments. I'm not going to be adding a magazine, although you could add a magazine if you don't really need that much ammo, and then you can make the gun feel very light. Since this is one of these slower guns in the game, it has like one of the worst mobilities. I have all these SMGs, and so the fast mags are pretty fun, but then kind of like defeats the purpose of using this gun, because like we all like it because it has so much ammo, and now it's like, yes, it's faster, but then you don't really have that much extra ammo, and so I just prefer not to run a magazine. For the grip, we are going to be using the ergonomic grip. Same reason, increase the ADS, the dive to fire, and that slide to fire speed, overall making the gun a lot more fluid and allow you to take advantage of the omnidirectional movement. With the stock, we are going to be using the infiltrator stock. I like to strafe very fast, makes it so you can strafe very fast. Although I do see a lot of people with the no stock. I think it's just like they don't realize how good the infiltrator stock is. Like, shout out to Exclusive Ace for you know, figuring out that the infiltrator stock is this good. And then for the last attach, we are going to be adding the rapid fire. This one's a little bit up to you guys. You could even add the long barrel, then add the overpressured rounds, increasing the bow velocity, but I would only do that if you can't control the gun. I think the gun is very easy to use with the rapid fire. It's just you really got to use it for yourself. Like, some people are a little bit newer and they will do very good. I mean, they won't do good with the rapid fire, and some people are more experienced, so then they'll do very good with the rapid fire. So you know, it really depends on your skill level, but right there you guys can see there's not that much recoil of the weapon, so I always like to run the rapid fire. Now for the 8 attachment class, I don't really recommend 8 attachments on this gun. I don't really think you need it whatsoever. I guess you could add the fast mag, because 50 rounds is still a lot for an SMG, and you get a lot of ADS speed and sprint to fire speed and stuff like that, making the weapon feel a little bit lighter. And then we're going to be adding the Kepler, and then can you add a, I can't count, but I guess you can add a laser. I just prefer not to add one. I don't think the lasers are really viable whatsoever, unless it's like Modern Warfare 3 or some of the lasers where like you don't really see them on the wall. Like the lasers, you would see it in person, but the enemies wouldn't be able to see the, oh, that's the wrong camera. The enemies wouldn't be able to see the laser, so maybe some of them are like that, but from my findings, it's not really like that. For the last gun, this is going to be the SAUG, one of my favorite SMGs and one of the fastest killing SMGs. Has a very fast fire rate, and the first gun I gave you was the Akimbo. This is going to be the single version of that. So since this gun does fire very fast, you're going to be blowing through ammo. The compensator is going to be better. Remember, the ported is only good if you think you can kill the enemies within about 10 shots. You can with this gun, but it's just if there's multiple enemies on your screen, you're going to be holding down the trigger. This thing fires bullets so fast that I do find myself, you know, doing a little bit better with that compensator. For the barrel, we are going to be using the reinforced barrel. There's not that much damage range with this gun, so it's going to increase that, and we're firing so many bullets that if we have a low bow velocity, the hit registration is going to be bad. It's going to feel like you're playing on a high ping, and so this is just going to, you know, make that feel a lot better. With the underbarrel, we are going to be using the vertical foregrip to increase that recoil control. This gun bounces around a lot, but if you add the vertical, you can actually use it up to like medium and long range, even like there's not that much recoil after you had attachments. And then you could add the ranger foregrip if you are pretty good at the game. I would say I'm very good at the game and I can usually beat anybody, but the ranger, I just feel more consistent with the vertical. Like I'm just a little bit better. For the next attachment, you guys already know, extended mag 1, gun fires fast. You're going to need the extra ammo. Then for the grip, we got the ergonomic grip, increasing that slide to fire, dive to fire, and the ADS speed. And then I really do like rapid fire in this gun. I know there's not that much damage range. This is really hurting that damage range, but the gun's actually pretty usable, and it brings us up to over 1,000 RPM, which is insane. One of the only guns with over 1,000 RPM, and so definitely I'll try this thing with the rapid fire. Super enjoyable. You guys can see me hitting my shots right there. And so if you guys want the best 5 attachment build, there you guys go. And then you could even add the overpressured rounds if you want the gun to be, you know, just feel better. But the rapid fire, you have to run a rapid fire. I just know some of you, like some people leave comments saying that the guns suck and that they can't control the recoil. I'm like, yeah, you can't control the recoil. For the stock, we are going to be adding the light stock just because the strafe speed on this gun's already pretty good. That I don't think we really need more strafe speed. If you want to max out that strafe speed, feel free to add the infiltrator, but I feel like the light stock is perfect perfect, just so you can get like, you know, the benefits of the hip fire movement speed when you're in the enemy's face. It is pretty nice to be able to strafe very quickly and just, you know, really move. And then for the optic, I recommend the Kepler, but honestly, I really like the iron sights on this gun. With all that yapping out of the way, that's going to be the last build on this list. If you guys did find it helpful, make sure you hit the subscribe button with the noties on, and a like is greatly appreciated. Let me know in the comments your favorite gun from the list. Mine is going to be that C9, the 8 attachment one, and you know, deuces.